Today on the Topping Show, Matt Walsh notes all the things that Democrats didn't clap for during the Trump speech and goes viral. Representative Maxine Waters claims that Elon Musk hacked the election but has no evidence. Trump opening speech also goes viral thanks to Elon reposting it. California has a bill to ban homeowners from defending themselves. Canyon recalls their speedmax bike, and Maserati, their sales crashed in 2024. All of that, much more on the Topping Show. Thank you everyone for taking the time to tune in today. Today's episode of the Topping Show is proudly sponsored by Topping Technologies. Topping Technologies is an IT value-added reseller and services company with a special proficiency in IT security. Heck, I see their founder at least twice a day. Gotta say he's quite handsome and brilliant. He's me, you see, that's the joke. If you're an IT leader or business owner, you can reach out to the team at sales@toppingtechnologies.com. Also, still giving away a free flamethrower with every IT purchase. Yes, of course, it does come with a fun Picatinny rail adapter, so you can mount it to any standard AR-15 like all awesome accessories can be. Go to toppingtechnologies.com and click the flamethrower button to learn more, or click the URL in the video description below. Lastly, trying to get to 5,000 subscribers by the end of the month, so if you can click that button and tell your friends, I would greatly appreciate it. Now going over to the business part of the podcast, you have Maserati sales crashed epically in 2024 by double digits. Yeah, it's that bad. It's actually more than half, which isn't good for what is supposed to be a luxury brand that helps bolster the profits of your company. But not really doing their job at the Stellantis portfolio, which has the most automotive brands or companies of any parent organization with the least efficient operations and profits. So yeah, they have that going for them. Thankfully, the CEO is gone, and well, the new Dodge CEO is back, or he's back. The good old guy who brought us to hell, the good old big old Hemi Hellcat, the awesomest cars, he's back at Dodge. So hopefully he fixes that, but that won't fix Maserati, which 18 people still need to buy. Now, this comes to us thanks to Motor1.com. And in terms of the importance of a luxury brand, I mean, traditionally, it bolsters a company's profits. One of the reasons why you'll never see the end of the iconic Porsche 911 is, well, not just is it a engineering marvel and a great sports car with 3 pedals, also known as a manual transmission, which all cars should be by default, but it's so gosh darn profitable for the Volkswagen Group, which is the parent company behind Porsche. I mean, the 911, many third-party analysts, they speculate that the profit margins are around 49% top line. 49% profit. That's insanely good. I mean, luxury brands are supposed to be, they're supposed to, help the company become more profitable. So like every car company has one. You have Toyota, they obviously have Lexus, Honda has Acura, Nissan, well, they're barely in business, but they have about 18 people who want to buy Infinities. And in theory, there's some profit in those. But in all seriousness, it's supposed to help bolster the company's profits and not doing their job in this case. Now, this comes to us, again, thanks to Motor1.com, specifically going to be credited to Adrian, who's right over there. And he says, quote, Maserati sales collapsed in 2024, even more than exotic Ferrari sold last year. He says, quote, it may be almost March, but sales figures for last year are still coming in. Predictably, Maserati has a terrible year, and after seeing the numbers, many would argue it's actually worse than expected. Today, the parent company Stellantis released full-year results, showing the company with the Trident logo fell, by 57%. They say deliveries decreased from 26,600 vehicles in 2023 to just 11,300 vehicles last year. Which begs the question, who is dumb enough to buy these things? Do you know anyone? I know one person, and she's a nice gal, a coworker, her friend also works in IT, and she said here's her lifelong dream to buy a Maserati. And my first thought, and she had a picture on the Facebook. My first thought was moron. It's just my visceral kick reaction was a very overpriced vehicle that's unreliable, depreciates like a rock, and the fit and finish. I mean, people make fun of Tesla for having bad fit and finish. Maserati is almost as if someone assembled it who was severely inebriated with some type of illegal substance when they're assembling all the body panels and everything together. They had a great, at one point, racing heritage, and they made some cool vehicles throughout the years, but I mean, if you want a modern, like, luxury sports car, I mean, again, this is anecdotal experience in DFW. I think I've seen like 3 Maseratis there. I mean, you see a lot more of the other, pretty much every other major manufacturer. No one is buying these things. And for good reason. They depreciate like a rock. Like 60%. Like, it is so bad. People make fun of Mercedes. This is worse. And it's even more unreliable, which is saying something. Now, they say, quote, to put that into perspective, domestic rival Ferrari shipped 13,752 with the prancing horse last year, an increase of 0.7%. Yes, as crazy as it sounds, Ferrari outsold Maserati. Another exotic Italian brand, Lamborghini, though some might argue is German because, again, part of the Volkswagen Group portfolio. Little pun there, I guess, or a slight at the Italians, owned by the Germans. But, I mean, shoot, Italians switch sides so often, it's hard to tell. But nevertheless, political puns aside, Lamborghini nearly matched Maserati sales in 2024. The Raging Bull saw demand jump by 5.7% to 10,700 vehicles. And here you can see one of those depreciation monstrosities, which it looks okay. I mean, again, you know me, every Maserati should have a stick shift. I mean, shoot, same for Ferrari and Lamborghini, but they've acquiesced to boring automatic transmissions, which feel like you're dead inside. But I partially digress. So they say, so what happened? Before stepping away, Stellantis Supremo Carlos Tavares blamed bad marketing for the sales slump. In an interview last month, newly appointed Maserati CEO Santino Felici echoed his sentiments. The new boss in Modena estimates the company will be in the red this year, but he hopes 2026 will be profitable, which, how? Let's not forget the former Stellantis chief financial officer Natalie Knight hinted in July 2024 that Maserati could be sold. Well, she said, quote, there could be at some point in the future where we look at what's best for Maserati. However, Stellantis quickly denied such plans in a statement to Motor One. They say Stellantis has no intention of selling the Trident brand, just as no intention of aggregating Maserati with other Italian luxury groups, which, again, they say they might want to sell it or spin it off. I mean, who would buy Maserati? Who would buy what's left of the assets? Obviously, there's value in intellectual property, and they're selling some units, but, I mean, at this point, who would buy them? Again, I think Stellantis needs to have a luxury, like a high-end luxury vehicle in their portfolio. I mean, not too much, just a little bit ADHD. Look at the Stellantis portfolio. Stellantis has a Barth, which they make some cool hot hatches. I mean, thinking of the Fiat that they bastardize, or in my opinion, make it a lot cooler because you got stick shift, performance brakes, what have you. And, you know, they do the same thing with the Mazda Miata. The Barth does their own thing to it. That's pretty cool. But again, that's more of an enthusiast. I'd say like low to mid price point, great value. You have Chrysler, which makes the minivan these days for all 18 people who want to buy a Chrysler. You have Dodge, which their sales are crashing because they're going EV, and that's not what the customer wants. You have Fiat, which barely has any presence in North America. They had their time for a New York Minute. You have Jeep, which I'll admit, Jeep is a great brand, not reliable, but the brand is so powerful, people buy it no matter what. They have that in their portfolio. They have Maserati. They also have Peugeot, which in North America, not really well known. Vauxhall, which they make some cool cars in Australia, but not really good in North America. Alfa Romeo, again, they were very strong for New York Minute when they came back to the United States. It was the first time in like 3 decades. But in my opinion, because they're not letting them do their own thing as much as they should, I mean, they're making a lot of basically bastardized Dodges with all the cross-carrying of components. The demand for Alfa Romeo is dwindling. Now, Alfa Romeo, I think if properly managed, would be better off. They're not quite the echelon of luxury of Maserati. They're sort of more performance luxury, so to say, like mid-tier, I would argue. You have Citroen, which is not really known in America. DS Automobiles, Hedmos, Lancia, Opel, which, they make some cool stuff in Germany. And then Ram Trucks, which, again, that's just part of the Dodge. It should be in the Dodge brand. I think it's silly that they technically have that as a separate brand, but of all the things I listed there, how many of those things have you seen on the road? You've seen Jeeps, I'm sure, if you're in North America. But like, in terms of a high-end luxury brand, Maserati's it. They should be handling that thing with much white glove services, because again, they need the profits. Stellantis, as a company, their profits crashed by 50+% in 2024. It was terrible. The revenue was down like 70%. Like, one of the biggest business blunders I've ever seen in terms of automobile company going downhill so quickly. And you look at all the things they have in their portfolio, they don't really have an higher end luxury car to rival with things like Ferrari, Lamborghini, Porsche. So I think Maserati should be around, but they are just so bad at the reliability and so bad at just the build quality and the depreciation. It's like they need to turn that company around, but I think they should keep it. Now they say, quote, in 2024, weeks before resigning for Stellantis, Tavares said that struggling brands would have a, quote, few years to save themselves. He didn't give any names, but logic tells us here he's referring to Maserati, if not additional brands as well. After all, cars from Lancia, DS automobiles are not exactly selling like hotcakes. Yeah, have you ever heard of them? I haven't. On this side of the pond, must be British, writer, Chrysler has certainly seen better days, especially since its lineup has shrunk to just the Pacifica/Voyager, which is also, that's what they call the minivan. So we'll see. Let's see here. They also say it's too soon to say whether Maserati will make the cut. The new CEO has appointed just a couple months ago. Stellantis is likely to still be patient with the troubled Italian brand. Jean-Philippe Impargo, Chief Operating Officer for Europe at Stellantis, recently said that Maserati deserves a relaunch plan. This year would be, and the next one are probably crucial. The company's future also depends on the decision taken by Tavares as replacement, who will be announced the first half of 2025. Which, I'm going to the comments, half of them are saying you need to put back the V8s back into the Maserati, which, well, yeah, obviously. There's an age-old philosopher, I don't think it's Confucius, but someone once said there's no replacement for displacement. Now, in all seriousness, in terms of Maserati, I mean, it's their one big upper echelon brand. It's been dragged through the streets, so to say, past couple of years. But they really make it reliable, fix their pricing, and make sure it doesn't depreciate like a rock. I mean, every other brand is more stable than Maserati. And again, you never should treat a vehicle as a financial investment. Obviously not. But depreciation is something that people take into account when they're buying vehicles, unless they're just so absurdly rich they don't care at all. But I mean, Porsches usually maintain their value, Lamborghinis, Ferraris as well. But yeah, it's just Maserati's the one ugly duckling in the whole group. And again, I want more options. Competition breeds the best solutions and the best results for the consumers. So I really hope Maserati makes it. But for the life of me, and I have friends, I know folks who have Porsches, Lamborghinis. I know one guy who has a Ferrari. Not to brag, but I have a Honda Civic Si myself, which I would argue is better than all of those because it has 3 pedals, also known as a manual transmission. Whereas again, Lamborghini, Ferrari, Maserati, they all just acquiesce to boring slush boxes, automatic transmission, and paddle shifters, which, yeah, I would just feel dead inside if I owned one of those. But let me know in the comments, when's the last time you actually saw a Maserati in the road? If you won the lottery, if you were in the financial position to buy one, is that the luxury vehicle you would choose? Let me know in the comments because, as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Now, going over to the Cultural Department podcast, you have Matt Walsh having a list of all the things Democrats did not stand up for during the Trump speech, and it goes viral to say the least. Now, this comes to us thanks to Matt Walsh on the good old X, or as 5 people probably still call it, Twitter, in which he says, quote, things the Democrats didn't clap for. 1, well, he didn't label them or number them, but I shall. 1, a child cancer survivor. 2, planting a flag on Mars. 3, fighting crime. 4, helping working families. 5, catching terrorists. 6, destroying cartels. The only thing the Democrats did stand and clap for was Ukraine, which, well, obviously, if you find out your employers are going to be making a lot more money, the trickle-down effect, you probably make more money as well. I'm only partially kidding. A lot of the money was sent to Ukraine with basically no monitoring or no oversight. I'm really looking forward to the statistical analysis in terms of all the money we sent there. Where exactly did it go, and how much of it just went into people's pockets? And again, I think this is something that not just Democrats did, but a lot of those Rhino Republicans did as well. Now, this pre-vlog got 1.9 million views and 120,000 likes, which is quite a few to say the least. Let's see here. Apologies. Let's see here. Don't be too upset. The Wi-Fi. What's wrong with the Wi-Fi? Or as some people call it, the Wi-Fi. But can never be too upset when IT issues do persist because, shoot, that'd be half my job gone. So apologies as let's see here. Reconnect that and reload this. In theory, it'll work. Or it'll just be awkward silence, which, there we go. Not too much awkward silence, not like a date night. Now, one of the first comments comes from Loves Doggy saying, quote, they are not progressives, they are communist. There's a picture of Bernie Sanders, which, well, yeah, I was going to say community knows true. There's Pocahontas, Elizabeth Warren, they have Schumer, Pelosi, the best stock trader in history. Corrupt, obviously. And you have Biden, they got 38 likes. MAGA 45. I'm a little disappointed. I thought his profile picture would be, in fact, of the iconic 1911 by, it's good. Come on, 45. I know it's the president, but it's also God's caliber, as some might argue. 45 ACP, which I would say the best. Well, yeah, bar none, probably the 1911 is the most popular 45 ACP pistol. But I partially digress. John Moses Browning, the OG genius. Now, he has a little picture that says, "I stand with the United States," getting 338 likes. You also have Calypso saying, quote, this perfectly sums it up. Democrats refuse to stand for American heroes, law and order, or even child-beating cancer. But the second Ukraine is mentioned, they suddenly find enthusiasm. Their priorities are completely backward, and the American people can see it. Getting 178 likes, which It is fascinating how you see so many Americans with Ukrainian flags on their front lawn, yet they've never had an American flag on their front lawn, and they can't even point to where Ukraine is on a map. I keep telling folks, whoever makes flags these days, or past 10 years, they're making a killing. Those flag manufacturers are going, I mean, people think NVIDIA stock was growing this company. Those flag manufacturers have to be doing great. I mean, there's a new flag every 3 days. You also have Add-on Nexus, saying, quote, being congressman, so easy even a caveman could do it, getting 272 likes. Which, yeah, they had to censor a certain member of Congress there. You have this I feel bad for this person. They must be very optimistic to really believe this. This person's name is literally Make Illinois, or because I like to give a slight, as a slight to Illinois, I mispronounced their place intentionally. Make Illinois great. And has a picture of the recent election results in Illinois by county, in which it was mostly red, but you do have the shitty of Chicago, which is obviously deep blue, which, yeah, Illinois is I can't name a single person or business that's willingly moved to Illinois in the past decade, but nevertheless, he says, quote, there really is no humanity in them. They're only about power and will discard all humanity to have it. The Democrat Party has become evil, perverse, and elitist. They should never win another election again, getting 57 likes. Well, if Trump actually rolls out a mandate for federal, and again, in terms of the state powers, I don't know if it actually stick, but if Trump actually had a law, or if, the government passed a law saying, oh yeah, for federal elections, you have to check IDs, well, I can't help but think that would improve the statistical opportunities that Republicans would then win with a greater frequency. You also have H6 divers saying, quote, war pig, Pocahontas, clap for dragging out the war for 5 more years. How shameless, itching to ship other people's kids off to graves just to feed their unhinged vendetta against a guy trying to stop the pointless killing. In 291 likes. This is Bobson Dugnett. I think it's an AI video of Nancy Pelosi, and he says they're completely broken. She's drinking a champagne bottle and falling down, getting 295 likes. You also have Patty saying, quote, the Democrat Party is no longer American. They no longer love our country. They don't love our flag, and they don't love the American people. They are sad, soulless people, getting 170 likes, which, yeah, it is ridiculous that they gave up on the American flag years ago, and they started saying it was evil, bigoted, all kind of crap. It is ridiculous. So kind of almost comical these days. You actually know how someone votes just if they have the American flag on their front lawn. And this is probably one of those viral things Matt Walsh has done in a while. And it's a bunch of AI pictures of politicians with their, well, I was going to say they look as egregious as usual. But let me know your thoughts, because as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Now, going over to the political part podcast, Representative Maxine Waters claims that Elon Musk hacked the election, but she has no proof. Interestingly enough, we do have a party that had ballots that came out of nowhere and counted those at 3 a.m. and shut down, covered up windows, claimed a pipe burst in a voting ballot room. So, they had to stop all the people from seeing what was going on. But I'm sure she's all about integrity. Now, this comes to us thanks to End Wokeness. And she says, quote, Representative, oh, he just quotes her. Oh, I'm so sorry. I should have put a visual disclaimer on the video, or at least for this part, because on the screen right now is a picture of Maxine Waters looking more decrepit than usual, which is saying something from me. At least she did suit up, so she did one thing right today, I suppose. It's a low bar, but nevertheless, perhaps she'll give, well, maybe I spoke too soon. Maybe she'll give us a brilliant, articulate reasoning behind her statement. Probably not, but let's hear what she has to say.
Turned it over to him. And we don't know everything that Elon Musk has done with his high technology ass. We don't know what he's being accused of by some, as it may relate to the election. But we're not going to give up in investigating and finding it. Turned it.
As brilliant as an articulate as always. Ha! Sarcasm. And that went moderately viral, got about 810,000 views as well as 8.9 thousand likes. And somehow she is still in politics. Somehow. Not many accomplishments, but she's still around. I'm curious. How old is Maxine Waters? Is it BC? She date that back before Christ? What year on the calendar would she be? Let's see here. I could type, that usually helps. Maxine Waters, age. Maxine, 105, I'm guessing. 86. I was close. 86 years old. And one of the first comments comes from Libercat Media TM saying, quote, wait, I was told by the same people now saying Elon stole the election that claiming the election is in any way stolen was a cardinal sin and you should be locked up for saying so. Peak liberal hypocrisy, gained 292 likes. Gunther Eagleman says, quote, she's broken, gained 1.5 thousand likes. Planet of Memes, or Planet of Memes, nope, a little disappointing. They did not, in fact, respond in meme form, simply acceptance. So, a little disappointing there. False advertisement saying, quote, is Maxine Waters an election denier? Gained 470 likes. Paul Zupa says, this sounds like election denied, and gained 161 likes. Liz Churchill says, wow, and she tags their profile on the X called Find Retards, which is a pretty good profile. It's exceptionally gifted at what he does. They got 58 likes. Western Decline says, quote, those responsible for crime often point the fingers at themselves. And unfortunately, they don't tell me, I don't see the reference, but it's a headline from California. It says, quote, Maxine Waters has given over $1 million in campaign cash to her daughter. Waters' family has a history of cashing in on the California Democrat campaign. It's gained 389 likes. Wow. World Hall of Fun says, quote, let's see. So what you're really saying is you have Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren. I'm sorry, Pocahontas saying, be transparent, show us your income. And Trump says, fine. And then you have Trump and Elon saying, now it's your turn. And, you know, Bernie and Pocahontas say, quote, no, that's that's just fascism. That's a terrible Bernie impression, but I went for it nevertheless. Yeah, Mr. I don't take money from many big companies. Fascinatingly enough, over $1 million from pharmaceutical company employees were all given to Bernie, as well as other top Democrats. Fascinating. You also have Based Electrician saying, quote, Maxine Waters, when she learns the email exists. And it's a screenshot of her looking ridiculous, getting 37 likes. Crazy Vibes says, why isn't she in jail? And it says, Maxine Waters only passed 3 bills during her 27 years in Congress. One of them was naming a post office. Owns a $3.4 million mansion in Hancock Park outside of her district. Used $750,000 of her campaign funds to pay for her daughter to mail out flyers. Has connections to radical Holocaust denier Louis, and I'm actually not trying to butcher some of these names intentionally, for Farrakhan. It says, no wonder she's been voted the most corrupt member of Congress. And that is a meme or an infographic, whatever you prefer, from Turning Point USA, getting 800 likes. Loves Dog says, same old playbook. There's a picture of Stacey Abrams. I'm sorry, should put another visual disclaimer. It's horrifying. It says, election denier Stacey Abrams falsely denied Georgia's 2028 election results 35 times. And they got 8 likes. Then there's just a bunch of people having pictures of, Maxine Waters. Let's see. Not a single person sticking up for her, which, again, is a little unfortunate. Life gets a little bit boring when you're in an echo chamber. And as a downside, a lot of people leaving Twitter. Hopefully they come back, even if they're, even if you don't agree with them. It's always fun to read what kind of contrarian statements are out there. And, I mean, she's at the ripe old age of 86. She might be prepping for a presidential run. She's making more and more of these statements and going viral, as the youth might say. I mean, who knows? But let me know in the comments, because as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Other interesting political news, you have Trump opening speech going viral thanks to Elon reposting it on X. Now, obviously, this comes from Elon on X, in which he just did a 25-second clip of Trump in his most epic speech of all time, obviously. Which, I think some might argue that.
The media and our friends in the Democrat Party kept saying we needed new legislation. We must have legislation to secure the border. But it turned out that all we really needed was a new president.
As youth might say, roasted or owned, something like that. And went pretty viral, got 33.1 million views and 256,000 likes, which is quite a few to say the least. One of the first comments comes from Gunther Eagleman saying, quote, does the Democrat Party really hate America? Getting 2.8 thousand likes. I mean, they orchestrated and kept a wide open southern border, which led to more issues, including, 100,000 Americans dying every year from fentanyl overdoses, as well as a myriad of other issues. We have a whole apartment complexes being taken over by gangs. I mean, their actions certainly reflect they don't like American citizens. Scrolling down more and more, Paul Zupa says, line of the night, gained 105 likes. Yeah, Johnson Democrats are disgusting. It says the joy of seeing a child's dream come true. Gained 245 likes. A boy who became Secret Service member. Gained 245 likes. Scrolling down more and more. Silly, yeah, literally her name is Silly Girl saying, quote, is one of the best speeches I ever heard. It's a picture of Trump, and it says, turns out all we needed was a new president. Gained 92 likes. Radio Geneva saying, quote, the corrupt European Union media says the majority of Americans do not support Trump. They're lying through the truth. Yeah, I mean, quite literally, Trump actually won the popular vote. I believe the first time the Republican accomplished that in, what was it, a quarter of a century? It was quite some time. And obviously, major accolades. Or, as some might say in the 90s, he deserves a kudos bar, which I don't even think they're in business, but ADHD and weird references aside. It got 1.5 thousand likes, which, yeah, if you're from Europe tuning into the show, I would say, yeah, majority of Americans love Trump. They're big fans of him. I mean, they literally voted for him. Well, if they're not big fans, they literally voted for him because they liked him more than, Kamala Harris. Granted, that bar was so low, it might as well have been underground. But nevertheless, I would say most people are favorable to him. Scrolling down more and more. Thrashed Potato, interesting name, says, quote, for real, dude, it's a meme. And it says, liberal virtue signaling. Hate has no home here. It's a picture of the peace sign, the trans sign, the Black Lives Matter sign, the rainbow sign. It says, unless it's hate for Trump, his supporters, white men, conservatives, and Christians, gain 70 likes. Junia Broderick says, quote, we are proud of you too, Mr. Musk. Thank you for all you do. Gain 1.5 thousand likes. You also have Ian saying, quote, Trump's Secret Service director makes DJ Daniel, a Texas boy with cancer who dreams of becoming a cop, an agent. Which, yeah, of course, they didn't clap for that.
And tonight, DJ, we're going to do you the biggest honor of them all. I am asking our new Secret Service Director, Sean Curran, to officially make you an agent of the United States Secret Service.
Already doing a better job than the gal who said you can't go on the sloped roof. No problem, that would say. And of course, all your Republicans are clapping. Which, this didn't happen, but how epic would it have been, and also hilarious, if they gave the microphone. He says, don't worry, Mr. President Trump. I could climb up a slightly sloped roof to protect you, unlike my predecessors. That would have been one of the best roasts. Trump would probably say, they could just give the best roast of all time. Those former Secret Service members were corrupt, moronic, or evil, or all of the above. Because they were. And that got 587 likes. You have Al Jolson saying, quote, NATO is ready to take on Russia. It's a cartoon of it's a tank painted pride colors with a person wearing a mask, and the tank is an EV. And you have the European Union's corrupt flag upon the tank, getting 15 likes. Which, yeah, that'd be a comical conflict. So, yeah, I was gonna say, one more. I Love American News says, quote, Kamala's border, and says under Kamala, 11 plus million illegal immigrants, 30 tons of deadly fentanyl, 360 people on the terror watch list have entered the U.S., getting 123 likes. So, as you might say, epic, and thanks to Elon, went even more viral on X. And, as always, let me know in the comments, because I'd be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Other interesting political news, you have California has a bill to ban homeowners from defending themselves. Rest in peace, the Castle Doctrine. Reason number 9,758,435,007 not to live in California. In addition to not being able to own most firearms, quite the antithesis of what the founding fathers had in mind, and also having gasoline being taxed to death and, crime being rampant left and right, they now want to force you to be a victim, akin to living in the hellish area of New Jersey, which is one of the worst if not the worst state in the union when it comes to the Second Amendment and your right to defend yourselves. You don't have that in New Jersey. It's terrible. Don't live there. Now, I'll read the actual bill breakdown, but I think this young gentleman might summarize it up even better. Elon Musk also reposted this, simply saying crazy. Now, this is originally posted by Bruce Lau, saying, quote, California Democrats just escalated the war on law-abiding citizens. Not only did they vote to defund the police and set criminals free, now they want to make people in their own homes sitting ducks for violent home intruders, also known as the New Jersey policies. I mean, no one's called it that before, but I will now.
California Democrats now want to ban self-defense. Radical left California lawmaker Rick Sieber just proposed a new bill that would ban fighting back during violent home invasions. First, they came for our constitutional right to bear arms. Then, they slashed police budgets and packed the courts with soft-on-crime judges. Now, they want to take away our right to defend ourselves and our families in our own homes. California's war against law-abiding citizens must end.
There's a reason many people and businesses have left. So much so, they ran out of U-Haul trucks, which I thought were nearly infinite in quantity. That's how corrupt and bad California has become. As beautiful as the state once was in terms of the nature, well, now in San Francisco, the scenery is mostly crap. Well, not just metaphorically, but physically, because they allow that defecation in the streets left and right. Now, this rant should have got more viral, but it moderately viral. It got 17.5 million views and 100,000 likes. And we'll dive into the specifics of the bill in a second here. One of the first comments comes from the Liz variant, saying, quote, they favor criminals over law-abiding citizens because that's a chunk of their voters. Well, yeah, getting 65 likes. Paul Zupa says, defund California now, getting 122 likes. Yeah. David Sullivan, pronouns prosecute Fauci, saying, quote, just when you think they can't get any dumber, they go and pull a stunt like this. And you have Gavin Newsom saying, quote, we built this shithole. Come to California where you could shit on the sidewalk, shoot up in public, sleep in a tent, or roast marshmallows at any one of our statewide fires. Getting 360 likes? 340 likes. Community notes says true. Scrolling down more and more. The Truth Man says, quote, what's really crazy is how involved Soros is in the fact that he really wants this. There's a picture of the decrepit George Soros getting 365 likes. Scrolling down more and more. You have Money Savvy Ultra MAGA. Interesting. Saying, quote, checking in on Democrats to see if they've calmed down yet. There's some decrepit woman says, I guess not, getting 120 likes. You also have Thomas B. saying, quote, California will continue to fail. And also has Mame saying, quote, the founding fathers weren't concerned about specific types of guns. They were concerned about specific types of government. Getting 187 likes. Hashtag truth. Now, going to the specifics of this insanity. This is specifically for, again, California Assembly Bill 1333. Really bad marketing, but nevertheless, that's what it's called. They say it was introduced by Assembly Maker and American Trader. I meant that. Rick Chavez Zeber aimed to amend Section 197 of the California Penal Code, which addresses justifiable homicide and self-defense laws. The bill proposes significant changes to the circumstances under which a homicide is considered legally justified, particularly in the home. Now he says, quote, key points include 1. Elimination of certain justifications. The bill would remove specific scenarios where homicide is currently deemed justifiable, such as defense of a habitation or property. Under existing law, individuals can use lethal force to protect their home, property, or person against someone who intends to commit a felony by violence or surprise, or against someone who is attempting to enter a home in a violent or tumultuous manner to harm occupants. AB 133 seeks to eliminate these provisions. Shouldn't you be allowed to defend yourself and your family and your home? A sane person, or an American, well, same thing, would say, yeah, obviously, by any, I would argue a true American would say by any means necessary. You gotta have an RPG, that's your God-given right. I'm actually not joking. And actually, with the right paperwork, in most states, you can own that. Although, maybe it'll be less prohibitive after Trump, maybe someday, Republicans actually get off their lazy asses and repeal the NFA Act of 1934, which makes it an extra tax and pain in the rear to buy things like short-barrel rifles, short-barrel shotguns, machine guns, destructive devices, and what have you. Again, Republicans keep saying they're pro-gun. It's been almost 100 years since that law's been passed, or the act's been passed. Get off your keisters. Do something for us. I hope they do. Someday. They say, quote, it also, part 2, clarification of non-justifiable homicide. It includes stricter conditions specifying that homicide is not justifiable when a person uses more force than necessary to defend themselves and a danger. This suggests a shift toward requiring de-escalation or disengagement when possible, particularly in situations outside the home. 3. Duty to retreat. This is the cancer that is New Jersey. Duty to retreat. While the bill itself does not explicitly use the phrase duty to retreat, advocacy materials and interpretations, such as those from Moms Defend Action, which is the most mentally vacuous thing they can be in terms of, if you're a mom, your number one job in life is defend, nurture, and guide your children. If, heaven forbid, you're home alone and someone tries to break your home and hurt you, I don't care on average what woman you are, you will not defeat a full muscular man like Dwayne The Rock Johnson or whoever kind of someone's bringing to your house. That's why a wise man once said, God made man, Samuel L. Colt made man equal. He was the first and most successful patent owner in terms of having the first commercial viable repeating revolver, which changed the game. Yeah, it blows my mind that moms are anti-gun. How mentally vacuous can you be? Your job is to protect your family. A gun allows you that. I mean, the AR-15 was the most brilliant implements ever designed. Thank God Eugene Stoner had that, ironically, in California, thought of the idea of the AR-15. And, well, he thought of the AR-10 first, but I partially digressed in terms of the nuances. But yeah, the duty to retreat. So they indicate that, geez Louise, AB 133 aims to require individuals to avoid lethal force if they can safely de-escalate or retreat to somewhere else. This aligns with the characterization of the anti-standard ground measure, contrasting with laws in some states that allow individuals to use force without retreating, also known as AKA standard ground. Which, again, not a legal scholar, but rudimentarily speaking, if you feel like your life is threatened, you're allowed to use deadly force. I would argue that's the American thing and what the founding fathers would want. Now, this is so crucial because, legally speaking, in shitty places like New Jersey, the standard is right to retreat. So that means if someone breaks into your home, your first legal duty, you have to turn around and run away. And let's say, heaven forbid, maybe your back door is blocked or anything like that, and you actually have to take the shot and, well, be good for society, many would argue, to get rid of the threat permanently. Nice thing, it does tend to decrease the repeat offenders, they don't exist. But yeah, it's one of those things where you're forced to retreat. And good luck proving in court that you showed, because you have to show you did everything humanly possible to get out of that situation before you even attempt self-defense. So no one with modicum of intelligence, I would argue, would ever want to live in New Jersey. Now, they claim this is going to maybe change the Castle Doctrine. Some saying it won't. Now, some people are saying this is for social justice because of discrepancies and outcomes of things. But yeah, this would scare the living bejesus out of everyone who lives in California. I mean, they already banned most guns. I mean, the criminals are roaming free, and they want to make it so you have to retreat. You don't have the right to defend your family, your home, and your property. How asinine is that? This is one of the few, well, I guess I have a few things where I like to stand on my soapbox, stick-shift vehicles being another random thing, but I mean, this thing is one of the core things where it's quite literally the founding fathers had the whole idea of the Second Amendment is defend yourself from tyrannical governments and threats. And California wants to take that away. Now, again, this hasn't been passed as law yet. We'll see how this progresses through the process where it could become a law. And again, hopefully, things like the Federal Firearms Policy Coalition and Gun Owners America, they sued it's all going to play out in the courtroom. They all filed appropriate lawsuits against this asinine type of legislation and gets overturned. But I mean, I'm not a fan of the federal government, obviously, but I wish in terms of, our God-given rights, like Second Amendment, I mean, I think every state it should be the standard on a federal level for it to be a right, not the right to retreat, but actually to stand your ground and defend yourself and your family. But again, it's quite concerning. If you live in California, you got to be on top of this, not only trying to take your guns and ban your guns, make you criminal, now they want to force you to be a victim, which, yes, I don't know, one of the most morally vacuous things on the planet. So again, hopefully this doesn't progress, but we'll see what happens. And as always, let me know in the comments because it'd be fascinating to hear what you have to say. One of those days, folks, the wardrobe malfunctions, or in this case, the hair malfunctions. Now, going over to the business blunder of the day, you have Canyon bicycles being recalled because they might just fall apart and crack, even though they cost apparently as much as a car. Now, this comes to us thanks to the United States Consumer Product Safety Commission, which they say, quote, Canyon Bicycles USA recalls Speedmax CS Triathlon bicycle because due to fall and injury risk, which at least it looks really cool, and it probably weighs like not even 5 pounds. I mean, it is crazy how light the carbon fiber racing bikes really are. It's a marvel of engineering when it works. Ideally it doesn't break and hurt you. Now, they say, quote, this recall involves the Canyon Speedmax CF triathlon bicycles models R073 and R41 with V21 aero systems, which sounds like it's an airplane. It sounds so fancy. It turns out the carbon fiber bikes were sold in black red, black blue, gray orange, and red and black. Canyon is printed on the down tube. Speedmax is printed on the top tube. We also note that V21 is printed on the left side of the stem. The model number can be found on the sticker on the top of the seat tube just below the saddle, which is also not just for horses. Which, yeah, this isn't good. It turns out the Aerosystem fork steerer tube on the bikes is being recalled because it can crack or break, posing fall and injury hazards, which not great. And apparently they sold 1,400 of these in the United States and about 380 into Canada, which I can't believe it gets warm enough to bike out there. Now, I guess the silver lining situation, no injuries have been reported. So again, no one's falling off these bikes, or heaven forbid, maybe you're going for a personal record or you're competing in an actual event. This hasn't ruined anyone's hopes and dreams in that regard. Now, they note that consumers should immediately stop using the recalled bicycles and contact a Canyon authorized service partner to schedule a free repair. The repair will include removal and inspection of the fork steerer tube, a fork replacement, if needed, and preventive reinforcement of the clamping area of the fork steerer tube. They also note that Canyon is contacting all known purchasers directly as well. Now, crazy thing to me is Canyon.com, they're sold between May 2017 and July 2024 for between $4,000 and $5,000 plus extortion tax or sales tax. Jeez Louise. A used car price for a bicycle, which, again, I know it's a high premium bicycle for racing. It's carbon fiber, which, with luxury items, one would venture to say you should have increased quality control because you don't want people pissed off that they spent the price of a used car on a bicycle. Now, this is also a recall number, again, if you want to call it directly, recall number 25-156. Again, 25-156. As I say, also manufactured in Taiwan, which can't help but think Trump going to say something effective. Taiwan is the new China. I say that because almost half these recalls past couple of weeks have been coming from companies manufacturing in Taiwan, though obviously still the headquarters of the globe for advanced semiconductor manufacturing. But not sure who's in charge of the quality assurance department at Canyon when, again, you're selling extremely high quality, in theory, high premium price, high quality bikes. But I gotta say, someone missed out in terms of actually testing the viability of this product and durability. So I gotta say, Canyon, you are certainly the business blunder of the day. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to tune in today. Again, try to get to 5,000 subscribers by the end of the month, so if you can click that button, I greatly appreciate it. Also, give me a thumbs up, thumbs down, or comment. It's a great way to give me some additional feedback, letting me know how I can make the show better and better. Lastly, don't forget to take time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe, fight the good fight.